Well, good old Murphy has struck again. I have replumbed the entire house underneath with all new piping and everything, except for one thing. The drain line from our bathroom sink through the wall and down below underneath the house. Guess what sprung a leak? It has come back to haunt me, not changing that thing out. There is a leak between the wall and the water. Whenever we drain the sink or water is running down the sink, it's going down between the wall, down through the holes where the hot and cold copper pipes come up through, and running down underneath the house. Oh, jeez. So you know what that means, don't you? That means I got to tear this section of wall down to get to that pipe. Now there is another option. I can just cut that pipe and then drill down through the cabinet and then down through the floor again with a brand new drain line and run that drain line over and connect onto another part of a drain somewhere. I'm just not up to that, you know. I don't want to ruin this cabinet by drilling more holes in the bottom that's already there, but I will take a look at that. Meanwhile, y'all watch the start of our Jukebox series. Alright, it's good to be back. Had a great weekend. This is our Jukebox. As you can see, it's now in the old shop. And one of our good subscribers, Ansel, said, you know, I need to get that up on a roll-around deal. I don't need to get it on a roll-around deal because it's already got a nice set of wheels on it. They work perfectly, okay? Now I'll go ahead, I'll be greasing them up a little bit. And this pad is one of the best things that Harbor Freight sells. I got some small ones and I got some large ones. Nice pad. I think I paid like $9 for this thing, something like that. It's huge, covers almost the entire thing, and they're pretty thick. They're pretty darn thick. We'll be taking the pad off here in a minute and let you have a little better look. But this baby here, she rolls real nice. I just like that. We just rolled it right in here from the garage. Piece of cake. It wouldn't fit through our door, so I got to actually open up the second section and you know, pull the latch down and swing that out. Well, she come right on in. That's exactly what the whole point was. All right, before we do anything, let's go ahead and come over to our workbench now. I've got most of this cleaned off. Got a few tools out here. I got to put a few more shelves up. I'll leave that out. And this here bench, once I get the shelves up, all this will be gone too. So let's show you. It's kind of neat to have my own workbench for a change, separate from the wife's house, and you know, I don't have to worry about taking up a plug that she may want for a lamp or something. This is kind of neat. I've got my little remote here set up. All I got to do is hit on and this little red light will light up. It lights up. And now I can go ahead and get my incense going. My little lavender vanilla or whatever I want. That's kind of neat. And behind the curtains here, I've got the 8-track player set up, and all I have to do, I've got it plugged into this little gizmo here. All I have to do is flip the switch on the other side. Let me see if I can get over here. See that little switch? Oh my goodness. Alright, that's kind of neat, isn't it? Let me show you something else that's really cool. I'm going to have to shut off the lights here. I finally got that statue hot glued back on real good. I didn't paint the base or anything. I wanted to leave it exactly like it should be. But it now has a bulb in it. And I've got it hooked up to one of the outlets here. Maybe I should put that in the bottom probably. Okay, I got it hooked up to one of the outlets controlled by the Variac. And turn down this thing a little bit more. So all I have to do now is I can hit my isolation transformer on my Variac and then bring up the voltage. Is that cool? Yes, it is. That is an old style Thomas Edison kind of bulb. And the reason I have it on the Variac is, you know, I don't want to burn them out too quickly. But it's got a whole bunch. I bought Brendan one of these also. I went to a place not long ago that had all kinds of these with all different shaped filaments in them, and I said, now this is something that Brendan would like to have, and so would I. I picked him up, I sent it to him. He said he's got his sitting on the bench, and I saw this in a YouTube video. This is not my doing, okay? Some guy, I can't remember who it was now, he had one set up on his bench just like this in a lamp controlled by the variac, where you could keep the voltage low and it would make the filament last longer. At least that's the theory behind it. And I said, now that's a good idea. That, of course, his style bulb was a little different from mine, but that was a great idea. So I said, I'm going to adopt that. So that's how this whole thing came about. I just think it's so cool. Alright, let's go down to the workbench and do a little electronics. Get everybody back in the mood. You got to get in the mood for this this new Jukebox series. You know, you just can't jump right into it. We got to get everybody, get your mind right. Let me help you with that. What we have here on the bench is an item that is either a capacitor or a resistor or an inductor. This item was sent to me by a now deceased antique radio forum member, Daniel Hildebrand. He was from Indiana. He had real bad breathing problems toward the end, and emphysema, I guess, and COPD and everything you could possibly think of. Poor fella. He pretty much lived in his basement working on radios right up to the end. He enjoyed that. He was a very smart guy. Anyway, he sent me some of these, and I still have one left, and I thought, you know, hey, this would be a great thing to show folks because it doesn't have any markings on it whatsoever. So what is it? Inductor, resistor, or capacitor? I found that while I was cleaning out, you know, all my little parts drawers and everything. That's one good thing about moving. You discover a lot of things you'd forgotten about. Alright, this little baby here is an inductor of some kind, and it has a capacitor on it and a resistor. Well, we know what this is, but what is the value of this inductor? And how do I measure this to find out? Alright, let's go ahead and use this little gizmo that was sent to me by my electronics mentor, Brendan. And we're going to find out what these things are. Now, I've got the leads, the black and red leads. They're just little old things. I'll show you, though, for those who have never seen it. Just a little tiny lead, okay? They go side by side in that little deal right there. One red, one black. It doesn't matter which side goes where. And then you push this lever down and it locks them in place. Okay, now they're locked in there. They can't come out. They're not supposed to come out anyway. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hook up the black lead to this side and the red to this side. Makes no difference. That's just my preference. And let's see if we can do it one-handed. Well, there's one. I can get one. I can do the other. We're going to find out what this thing is. Inductor, resistor, or capacitor. Alright. Now we press the button. If you've never seen one of these, it's the coolest thing. It works off a 9-volt battery. It's fast and it is accurate. Alright, now we got everything hooked up. We just press the blue button. It's testing the battery. It says I got 9 volts. Well, how about that? It is a capacitor, 45.93 nanofarads. How about that, guys? Now we know what that is. Let me get it set up for the inductor here, or the coil. To test our coil, I'll need my little pull-down lamp, the kind that old 64 Goat has on his bench. I got figuring one day, why should old 64 Goat have one of these and I don't? So I went out and I got one for $5 at a flea market. There she goes. It needed a bulb. I put the bulb in it. Works fine, lasts a long time. Now let's show you how good these things come in for us old guys that are kind of have a problem with our sight. Got a magnifying glass in the middle. Let me show you what we got here. For this, I need to show you a little something. You'll see the two, let me see if I can get my thing down in there where it belongs. There you go. You see the two copper wires coming out of the coil? They run down, and the one on the top here is connected to this side of the capacitor, and the one on the bottom is connected to that side of the capacitor. So that's where I need to connect my leads, which will now. The question is, will it read the capacitor or will it read the inductor? Since they're both connected to the same terminal. This ought to be interesting. Let's try that, see what happens. Let's hook up the leads. She's ready to go. Let's press our button to see what happens. Are we going to get a capacitor reading or an inductor reading? An inductor reading. This thing says it is 70.3 ohms and 2 millihenries. 70.3 ohms and 2 millihenries. Pretty cool, huh? This thing is so cool. This is really cool. I'll tell you what, we can test that ohms using a multimeter. I think what I'll do is I'll stick a multimeter across the same leads and see what kind of resistance reading we get. Let's do that. All right, we got them hooked up. Let's see what we get. We're looking for what, 70.3. Flip the meter down to where it reads ohms. 69.3. 1 ohm difference. Negligible. Okay? And she's off. Again, this is a 1961 Seeburg AY100U. Okay? And we do have our manual that I showed you previously. This will give you a little better shot with the light. And now that we have electricity in our shop, things are a whole lot better. Easier to work with. Good stuff. Lots of crap in there. Lots of it. This is some stuff I had previously collected. This came from Brendan. He was out there collecting information too, because he knew about this thing right from the beginning. He knew I wanted one. He didn't know when I was going to get one, but almost within like a couple of months, boom, this thing popped up. And a woman named Cindy down in Rogersville, Alabama. I think she now lives in Florida. She was planning to move, and this jukebox was in her house, and she advertised it. I told you, it turned out to be an eBay purchase. We negotiated back and forth on the price, and finally we came to an agreement. I sent her the money, and she kept it for a week for me because I had plans to go down to Florida to a karate tournament down there for a whole week. She agreed to keep it for a week. When I got back, I grabbed my grandson Ethan and we drove on down there and got it. And she was getting ready to move herself back to, apparently she lived in Florida, she moved up to Alabama, she's getting ready to move back, and chances are she just didn't want to drag this thing with her. She wanted to go ahead and just buy another one when she got down there. Yeah, and I asked her, you know, when we got there, I said, Cindy, why do you have a jukebox? You know, it was kind of interesting. Not everybody has a jukebox. And her answer to me was, well, everybody should have a jukebox in their house. Great answer, you know. Right away, I liked her. I said, that's cool. Well, let me take you around back and tell you what the primary problem was. There's a door, a large door that closes on the back of the jukebox. This is the rear. And on the back of that door are there's two heavy chassis. And when the door swings open, the chassis, you have access to the chassis. Let me show you what the chassis look like. Here's your door, and it swings open this way. The pins that hold the door in are pretty hefty. There's a good one right there. It's a pretty good size. The other one looks like it might have been, I don't know if it's been messed with, sheared off. I don't know if it's worn out. Not exactly sure what we got going there. I may have to take a closer look at that after we get it cleaned up. It looks okay, but I don't know. Kind of squirrely. We'll see. Anyway, the door it's bent, so it'll have to be straightened out. And this is the latch for it. And there's master control, main switch, record, reject. I mean, that's where the maintenance guy who would come in and service the juke once a week or every other week in the local pub or wherever it was, he would mess with those, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe maybe those were access for the guys that owned it in the soda shop or whatever. Don't know. We'll find out later. We have these two chassis here. This one is called a memory unit, a memory system or credit system. When you put in your quarter, your nickel, your dime, whatever they charged, this is how it remembered how many plays, how much credit you have, you know, and once of course the money ran out, that was it, no more songs. This is what's called the Tormat, T-O-R-M-A-T, Tormat chassis, and this is your amplifier here. This is where all your tubes are. I've got to clean all these tube sockets, replace them all. You'll notice that there's a lot of mud on here from where the flood got it. I'd let it sit in here and dry out, It's completely before I messed with it. If I'd have messed with it while the mud was wet, it would have been an even bigger mess. But all these wires are going to be replaced. All this stuff is terrible. Everything that needs to be replaced is going to be replaced. Now this will not look brand new when I get done. I don't want to take any chance of all this writing to be somehow removed from these chassis. If I were an expert and I did this every day, I'd know exactly what it is. I wouldn't worry about it, but we're just going to clean it the best we can, and then maybe, I don't know, we'll just play it by ear as we go. So these are the three main things that we're going to be working on, in addition to the mechanical mechanism, and we'll go back in and look at that. But first, let's take a look at the top. I've had the top upside down on this table, sitting on this pad, ever since I took the sides off to have them buffed up and cleaned up and shined up and all that stuff. And in order to put it all back together again, all the screws weren't there. Some of them were missing. So I went out and I bought all the size screws I need. We'll be putting it all back together with these brand new screws, all the sizes. And this is the hinge mechanism that holds up the lid. And it's going to need a good cleaning and everything, but lucky us, it was up off the floor. The flood did not get it because it was sitting on this table. There's a lot of it's going to have to be a lot of cleaning and work on this baby, I'll tell you. There's even a broken part right here, some kind of light diffuser of some sort. We may have to come up with a new one, I don't know. We'll just play it when it comes. This is the top bar. This one here is aluminum. I didn't have to do anything with the aluminum parts. I just had to mess with these two side pot metal deals. But anyway, we're okay. Yeah, one thing I did notice though, some of the old Seeburgs, they had those large musical instruments, they were decals on the glass. They had I think it was a trumpet and a trombone and stuff like that. This one was missing all that, so maybe somebody took it all off. However, the picture of Elvis Presley is here, right here. All right, let's go back in and look at the juke. This is kind of neat, huh? 10-cent selection. I don't remember as a kid seeing a jukebox that took $50. All the ones I saw took 10 cents or quarter. You got 3 for a quarter. So this may have come along. This was 1961. I don't know. It may have been a regional thing. I don't remember seeing it. That doesn't mean it wasn't there. I'm just saying I don't remember. You got 3 selections for a quarter or 10 cents a piece. Anybody spent half $1 on songs back in those days, even if you did get 7 selections, that's a pretty rich kid. And right here's where you put all your money in, and this thing will have to be cleaned, and we're going to have to, boy, I'll tell you what, we got a lot of cleaning ahead of us. It's going to be such a fun project. I can't believe it. Hopefully I live long enough to complete it, Let's look around the back here, and being this is your selection board, selection buttons, keyboard, I don't know what you call it. But down in there you can see all the wiring associated with that mess. All that's going to come out. This entire section will come out, and we'll take a look at it. We'll put it on the old bench. You're going to be in for a real treat here. And then of course we have a fluorescent bulb here, and we have a fluorescent bulb here. They both light up when you plug it in. Lights up underneath the glass. This is your mechanical mechanism. These things right here are little counters. And what they would do is each song you played, they would do a count on these little wheels. They would turn, and then when the maintenance guy would come in once, I guess a week, once every 2 weeks, 10 days, whatever, and he would give the count from all these wheels that were associated with the records that were played, and the ones that were played the most were kept. The ones that weren't hardly played at all, out they went. Okay, that's how they determined what records to keep in here. They kept what the kids and what the guys and the gals wanted. These are the bolts, the big bolts and nuts that hold this thing in. There's 2 over here and a couple over here. It's going to be interesting because the selector mechanism here, the sliding record, whatever they call it, is covering the heads of the bolts, or the nuts rather. There you go, you can see it's covering part of them, so getting to that thing's not going to be so easy, but we can do it. We'll get it from underneath. Anyway, that's going to be it, guys. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. You put all these things back to zero, by the way, using this knob here. Okay, and it's really stiff, a lot of rust, all kinds of stuff. We'll get her. We shall get her. Now, one of our subscribers was wondering about those speakers down in there. Did they get too much water in them? I'm gonna, before I shut this video down, I think what I'll do is I'll see if I can't remove one. This video is running way longer than I expected, but I think, matter of fact, I'm going to cut it off right here. So when we'll go ahead and remove that speaker, or maybe even both of them, for the next video, and check them out, see if there was any damage from the water. Well, I hope it didn't bore you too much. By the way, here's the name tag on this thing for anyone that might be interested. AY100U. The serial number is, what is that serial number? 200 243. That's about it, guys. Kind of cool, huh? Anyway, until next time, this is John. I hope to have even more information to give you. Well, rather than take down the entire piece of paneling, what I decided to do is just cut it across. And as you can see down here where the water, we caught it pretty early, but it's probably still messed up that plaster board. It's all going to have to be cut out, or at least, well, I'm just going to cut a groove across there tomorrow. It's late at night right now and I'm zonked, I'm worn out, but progress is being made.